element of Mark, you will see that these two events fit into a sequence in which there is first the eating of the 5,000, feeding of the 5,000, and the 4,000, and particular episodes within each one, bracketing it. And he is focusing to them, hey guys, why don't you understand what's going on? That is to say, he wants them to take this as a sequence, as an object of understanding. Does somebody understand what's going on? See, he wants them not only to study parables, but what he's doing in a sequence of events so they can become objects of understanding, so that they therefore can get an insight into what's going on in what he is doing. So his life becomes the object of reflection as the parables become the object of reflection. Now, we could go through each one of these episodes, and it's a rather nice section, but it will take us longer than we have. But it starts at what I call 6:14, where the story of Herod starts, so you can do that yourselves later. All right? So it starts at 6:14, and the episodes are very clearly, therefore, linked. And that is a perfect example, therefore, the point of the need for understanding. So these episodes follow in sequence. They have an organization. They become objects of understanding. The parables have to be linked together as objects of understanding. He doesn't tell them believe. He tells them, hey, wake up, understand. Now, this idea of the kingdom of God is, of course, central to the whole development of the New Testament. And in Mark, it's happening right now. All right, it's not later, it's now, Jesus says. Now, that means, therefore, that there's some intimate connection between waking up, coming to an understanding of what he's doing, and of the parables, which then prepares the mind to accept this experience or this state called the kingdom of God, which, of course, by the way, Matthew changes to kingdom of heaven. The most interesting thing in the life of any spiritual being, of course, is to be able to establish the range of experience and to see how that range of experience plays a role both in the individual's life as well as the life of the followers. Now, in Mark, of course, the most salutary, most greatest story, of course, is the Transfiguration. Now, the Transfiguration, chapter 9, Jesus leads some of his followers up to the mountain top, and he brings them to be observers of this event. And there's a divine luminosity, and through that divine luminosity, which is said to be so brilliant, it was such that even his clothes shone with this brilliance, came through it. And then, through that divine luminosity, comes Moses and Elijah. And they have a dialogue. They talk. They talk. Now, wouldn't it be interesting to, like the Buddhists have these great koans in order to pass into the more profounder aspects of Buddhism? They give very profound koans, curious ones. I would propose that the interesting one for Christianity should be, okay, what do they talk about? How did that dialogue go? What were they talking about? Because this is Moses and Elijah. So now, would you not agree it would be worthwhile going back through Mark, and every reference you find to Moses, you carefully mark, and the same thing with Elijah. Right? Then, of course, having some historical background and reading of these people would be equally significant, so that you really want to take that reading that you might get through, background reading, right? Because when Peter, astonished as he is through this, he says to Jesus as he comes out of this, he said, you know what? He said, you should build 3 tents. The word is tabernacle. Now, it's always been a source of amazement to me that Christianity has ignored that, because I think it would be interesting to see a Christian organization build 3 tabernacles and have one for Jesus, one for Moses, and one for Elijah, and present that as the core of their teaching, because this is the highest, most profound moment. And as a matter of fact, it's so designed that if you take the Gospel of Mark, you know, it's got 677 verses minus 12, 65, and you just cut it down the middle, that's the event right in the middle. There it is, right in the middle. Perfectly symmetrical in respect to the book. And it's structured in such a way, by the way, just quickly, that every event is structured in such a way that it has an incremental development. And on the other side, the development has a greater degrees of tension until it finally reaches that crisis in the end. So it's an amazing piece of work in terms of structure, and it follows Aristotle, as you know. Aristotle did a great work on tragedy, did the work on rhetoric, and the design, you can take the design of a Greek tragedy in the 5 sections in which it's traditionally built, and you can take it, you can put it right in here, and you can drop in the 5 divisions and put the Gospel of Mark in it, except for one part, and that is the part that doesn't fit, is the, called the events after the opening of the tomb, or what is sometimes called the post-resurrection, or called post-resurrection scenes, or sometimes people call it the post-Easter, the physical appearances of Jesus. Now, what's interesting about the Gospel of Mark is that the earliest copies of Mark, which is the Codex Sinaiticus and Codex Vaticanatus, which is the codex found in the Vatican Library, stop at 16:8. And the 12 more verses have been added, and the 12 verses, of course, deal with the post-resurrection, because all of the ancient texts end at the tomb, the young man in the tomb. Now, if you take that into consideration,